Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are diving into a question that every single property owner has. How do you actually boost your rental income and your property value without completely breaking the bank? Well, let's get right into it. So when you think about raising the rent, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For a lot of us, it's this image of a massive, super expensive renovation, right? We're talking knocking down walls, gutting kitchens. But what if I told you the smartest investments, the ones that give you the biggest bang for your buck, are actually the smallest ones? Yeah, see, this is the big myth, that you have to spend big to earn big. But the reality? The highest return on your investment, it almost always comes from small, really strategic upgrades. It's all about something we call perceived value, those little changes that make a huge visual and honestly an emotional impact on a potential tenant, all for just a fraction of the cost. Okay, so let's start with our first pillar right here, making the small changes that are going to deliver a really big impact and, of course, the highest ROI. First impressions are absolutely everything, and they start way before a tenant even steps a foot inside. We're talking under $50 to swap out a rusty old mailbox and some faded house numbers for a modern, sleek version. Just picture it, a fresh coat of a rich, maybe even a bold, contrasting paint on the front door. Add some fresh mulch, a cool modern light fixture, and you've instantly boosted that all-important perceived value. And once you get inside, it's all about creating those little wow moments. Ditch the old, cheap builder-grade light fixtures for modern LEDs. Not only do they brighten up the space, they actually lower the utility bills. In the kitchen and the bathroom, forget a full remodel. Just swapping old knobs for some matte black or brushed nickel hardware, it creates this immediate sense of luxury. And for less than $200, you can install smart tech, like a keyless entry or a smart thermostat. That's the kind of convenience modern tenants not only expect, but are totally willing to pay more for. And this, right here, this is the payoff. These simple, high-impact changes can justify an extra $50 to $150 a month in rent. That's a return that puts you in a profitable position really, really quickly, all without the headache and the cost of a major renovation. Now for our second pillar. Look, upgrades are amazing, but they're only half the battle. If you get the pricing wrong, you could lose all the value you just worked so hard to create. This is such a classic trap. You set the rent sky high, hoping to maximize your return, but then the property just sits there, empty. And every single week it's vacant, you're just losing money. That costly vacancy can eat up any potential gains from a higher rent faster than you can imagine. And on the flip side, if you're too cautious and you price it too low, you are literally leaving money on the table every single month. Over the course of a year, that can add up to thousands of dollars in lost income. It's a painful mistake. So the key, the real secret, is finding what we call the Goldilocks price. And this is not a guess, it's the perfect rate, and it's based on a real-time comparative market analysis. It looks at similar properties, what condition they're in, even seasonal trends to find that absolute sweet spot that maximizes your income while minimizing that dreaded vacancy time. And that brings us to our third and, maybe the most important pillar of all. Once you've got a great tenant paying that perfect price, the key to stable income is simple. Keep them there. I want you to let this one sink in, because it's one of the most important truths in property management. Finding a new tenant is always, always more expensive than keeping a good one. Tenant turnover is the silent killer of your rental profits. And here's why. The cost of turnover isn't just one thing. First, you have the lost rent while the unit is empty. Then you have the cost of repairs and cleaning to get it ready again. Then there are marketing expenses to list the property, and you might even have releasing fees. When you see it all broken down like this, you really start to realize just how crucial tenant retention is. So how do you do it? Well, first, be proactive with your maintenance. Don't wait for things to break. Second, communication is just non-negotiable. You've got to respond to requests quickly and respectfully. And third, offer a small but meaningful incentive for renewal. Seriously, a gesture like a carpet cleaning voucher shows you value them, and that goodwill pays for itself tenfold by helping you avoid all those costly turnover expenses. All right, let's put this all together. Maximizing your rental income isn't about massive spending. It's about having a smart, repeatable strategy. Here it is, your action plan boiled down to 3 core steps. First, focus your budget on those low-cost, high-impact upgrades that boost perceived value.
Second, use that real-time market data to set the perfect Goldilocks price. And third, make keeping your good tenants happy a top priority to ensure you have stable, long-term income.
See, by following this framework, you can turn what might be a good investment into a truly great one. So I'll just leave you with one final question. As you think about your own property, what's the very first smart, high-impact upgrade you can make to start boosting your ROI today?